My daughter Hazel, pre-tween, has been obsessed with animals, especially monkeys, for most of her life. So on her birthday each year, minus the last for obvious reasons, we visit a local holiday park and petting zoo. My mother started this tradition for my nieces, 28 and 21, who've outgrown it now, but I like to carry it on. I explained the tradition over breakfast to Natalie, my partner of 3 years, expecting her to be excited too, but she wasn't. Natalie told me that her daughter, Gracie May, 1 year older than Hazel, is a fearful child and too worrisome around animals such as horses, donkeys and goats to enjoy such a day out. Natalie suggested that we try somewhere new that would be less frightening for her, a new tradition. I knew Hazel would be heartbroken, so I insisted on the holiday park and petting zoo. While Hazel, my niece, 21, Natalie's son Jack, tween, and I went to the holiday park, Natalie stayed at home with Gracie May. Jack hadn't seen a goat in person before, so that was exciting for him, whereas Hazel was tall enough to go on rides she couldn't previously, which excited her. Hazel and Jack each picked up a toy from the gift shop on our way out, and we stopped at McDonald's on the way home for dinner, so overall, Hazel had a good birthday. Natalie was less thrilled about the day. I thought I'd be nice to include Jack, but she thought I'd driven a wedge between the siblings by taking one and not the other. I said Gracie May could do what she wanted on her birthday, but it was Hazel's birthday, so it'd be unfair for it to revolve around Gracie May. Natalie thinks I was heartless for isolating her daughter, not even bringing her McDonald's, while she listened to Hazel and Jack talk about the fun they'd had. This annoyed me, as Natalie had been the one saying Gracie May would have hated the trip, which was why she wasn't invited. Natalie doesn't think I'm putting in enough effort to establish that we're supposed to be a family now and do things together, with which I generally agree. Still, surely Hazel's birthday is supposed to be about her. Regardless, Gracie May is clearly miserable and feels very left out while Hazel and Jack had a brilliant time. I didn't want to hurt anyone, I just wanted my daughter to have a special day, but I do understand why it would upset her. She is clearly an emotional child. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Natalie doesn't care about Gracie May's feelings. If she did, she would have done something enjoyable with her herself while you guys were out. But instead of doing something uplifting for her own child, she sat home with her where they sulked together and became miserable for the sole purpose of using Gracie May's misery to make you feel guilty for giving your own child a happy birthday. If you're smart, you'll think long and hard before continuing this relationship. Natalie's made it clear that she expects you to prioritize her daughter over yours and that she will go so far as to increase her own child's suffering to manipulate you with it. She is not a good person to have in your daughter's life. Yes, I wouldn't build a life with someone who uses their child as a pawn to manipulate me emotionally. She's done this to punish you for not doing what she wanted. People who punish you for having boundaries, in this case by causing and weaponizing her daughter's unhappiness, are impossible to have a healthy relationship with. That's a really good point. If Gracie May thinks she wasn't invited, that would be hurtful. So make sure she knows she was invited, but her mom said no. Also, I have a tough time believing she wouldn't have wanted to go, no matter how timid she is. Did Natalie ever say how she felt about the park? Maybe she just didn't want to go. Gracie's parties can be all about what she does and doesn't like. That doesn't mean that Hazel and Jack have to cater to her. But I will say that while you're not the idiot here, you could have done better and brought a toy and McDonald's back for Gracie. It would be best if you tried to include her, though you don't have to change the whole thing to suit her. OMG, he is not her dad. Let him spend time and energy on his kid because Natalie certainly will. Natalie isn't going to help her daughter by shielding her from things that may frighten her. She could easily have come along and kept Gracie May feeling calm and safe. And you're right, Hazel's birthday is about her. I, 23 female, have a little nephew and niece. My brother called last week and asked me to take them for 2 days as he and my sister-in-law had a doctor's appointment out of state. I agreed, but warned them that I could only watch the kids on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday I had a bunch of important meetings, and I'll be glued to my laptop for hours, unable to check on the kids. He said he got it. Well, Tuesday around 8 p.m, they were supposed to be picked up at 9:30 p.m, my brother called and asked me to keep them another day because they got delayed and have not even started driving back. I got angry because if he'd told me earlier, maybe I might have been able to postpone most meetings or even call in sick. However, no one was at work at 8 p.m, and I find it unprofessional to cancel the same day without an excellent reason. I told him to come to get his kids and he became very defensive and rude, calling me unsupportive. To be clear, they went for a tummy tuck for my sister-in-law, so no real medical emergency. He called Mom, but she'd already gone to bed, and he dared to tell me to drive 1.5 hours to her house, wake her up and make her take the kids. I said no. We fought more with my sister-in-law giving her 2 cents in the background before they hung up and stopped picking up till the next day. I found a nice babysitter the next day, thankfully, and because it was last minute, I paid $200 for a few hours. Still mad, I just forwarded the bill to my brother, expecting him to pay. My sister-in-law called and screamed her head off, calling me irresponsible, witch, how dare I leave her kids with a stranger. I was in the middle of work still and hung up on her and just forwarded the bill to her as well. My mom showed up at my house an hour later and took the kiddos. Now my brother is still refusing to pay, and my mom said I was petty, things come up, and it was wrong of me not to consult them before hiring a babysitter for so much money. Am I the idiot? Edit. I called my brother twice in the morning to inform him of the babysitter. He didn't pick up. My mom still works, and if I'd taken the kids to her house, it would have been her neighbour, Marcy, watching them. Not the idiot. How would you consult them if they stopped answering their phones? It's on your brother and sister-in-law to find alternate coverage when they were delayed, but they didn't, so you had to make sure it didn't affect your job. They knew you had to work on Wednesday, and their only thought was you have to drive 1.5 hours to wake up your mum. Nah. I can see if she lived maybe 10 or 30 minutes away, but not an hour and a half. They shouldn't have stopped communicating and need to pay up. This whole situation is on them, and don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Your only downfall was agreeing to watch their kids so your sister-in-law could have plastic surgery. And I don't think you're going to see that money, but I would consider it money well spent if they realise what a horrible thing they did. OMG, they can afford a tummy tuck and several nights away in a hotel, then they can afford to pay for babysitting. You might not get the money back, but pay the sitter, then never take their kids again, not even 10 minutes. Oh, and tummy tucks aren't a real easy recovery. Definitely let them experience the consequences of no longer having you as a resource when she has her vanity procedure. OP, you arranged childcare when you couldn't look after them. Their kids, their bill. Also, no evidence at all, but seeing as you've said the appointment was a checkup before surgery, not the actual surgery itself, I suspect there wasn't really an emergency or delay. They just wanted an extra night kid-free at your expense. I, 45 female, have a 19-year-old daughter who's smart, kind and beautiful. She has lots of friends, is a good student, and has always had a great work ethic. I'm very proud. However, recently she's changed her hobbies and interests and is very much stuck in this phase of her life. She bought herself an Xbox at the beginning of 2020 and started gaming. Her obsession grew, and because of the mandates, it was easy for her to become addicted to it. She'd be up all night talking to her boyfriends, and when the restrictions were lifted, she would bring her Xbox to her guy friends' houses. She took a gap year, and when we started thinking about the colleges she should apply to, I suggested that she should apply to the Northern University in our state and rush for a sorority. I was in one, but she said she would instead go to a limited Greek life school. She said that she thinks that sorority life is fake and she wouldn't form any emotional connections. I took this offensively because I was in one at her age, so I don't know why she wouldn't have this narrative. She's only spent a weekend at her friend's sorority. Anyway, cut to now. She's in college, she's doing great. Again, she's a beautiful girl and has many friends, but she's only become more interested in this gaming thing. She talks about people who do live videos of them doing pretty much anything, playing video games, watching interesting videos, events, etc. She has a setup in her room where she's spent her own money on a gaming chair and more. She has anime books and watches anime. I sat her down a few days ago and told her she should find more sociable hobbies, and she became so angry at me. She's saying that I'm trying to make her into me and that I'm obsessed with her popularity. I tried to calm her down, but she refused to believe that I just wanted what was best for her. A few of my husband's friends and I have girls her age who are in Greek life, have fun group outings and inclusive hobbies, so I just don't get it. She has many friends and is very pretty. I just want her to have healthier and more productive habits. She hasn't talked to me since. She's been busy moving to her new house with her friends, and my husband told me she's justified but says he refuses to put himself as a part of this. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. How many times do you have to mention that she's pretty? Would you be fine with her liking gaming if she wasn't conventionally attractive? Gaming is social, by the way, especially depending on what game she's playing. Twitch streaming is also social. You mentioned that she has a lot of friends and is happy and healthy, so what's your issue? That she's not like you? That you didn't get a carbon copy legacy to parade around for your sorority sisters. Let your daughter be her own person and support her. I picked up on this too. It's like OP thinks that because her daughter is attractive, she automatically must act in a certain way and be interested in a certain set of things. I was honestly surprised I didn't read "Gaming is for boys" in OP's story. I'd love to see a list of hobbies that OP deems fit for a pretty girl to participate in. LOL. You are the idiot. She's finding and following her passions. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's wrong. You also sound obsessed with how petty and popular she is. Two things that aren't really important. Go in front of a mirror and practice saying the following. I don't really understand these new interests in your life. I'm proud that you're finding yourself and becoming your own person. I will work on respecting your boundaries and not passing judgment. I love you no matter what. Once you've got that down, talk to her and say it and mean it. My 22 male girlfriend, 19, crochets quite a lot, and I've encouraged her to start like an Etsy shop or something, but she hasn't. The issue is that she spends all this money on yarn, even though she always buys the really cheap big rolls at Michael's. It adds up. So instead of making something that someone would want as a gift, like a dishcloth, blanket, sweater, etc., she chooses to make these dumb little stuffed animals. The other day, she finished crocheting a 13-foot-long dachshund, so she has these baskets and shelves of these stuffed animals that she refuses to give away or sell, but also hardly uses after they're done. The other day, she was hanging around her apartment and it was a mess. She claims her roommate made the mess, but I guess she was hanging out in it, so instead of cleaning it, she's crocheting. When I brought up the mess, she said her roommate would clean it up and proceeded to pull this binder full of Polaroids of her finished project and each of their names and was talking about them. I couldn't stand it and I snapped and told her she needed to focus on cleaning up and that I didn't care about her toys. She said her roommate would, and I told her that she was acting like a child. By the time I left, she was crying. It's been almost a week now and she isn't answering my messages. Am I the idiot here for wanting her to live in a clean apartment? I hope your girlfriend dumps you and finds a nice boyfriend who supports her cool hobbies, and that you never have a girlfriend again until you change your fundamental attitude towards women because you're an idiot. So what are you complaining about? She took out the trash, just like you wanted. He doesn't have a girlfriend, he only has the audacity. Pretty sure she's already dumped him given the fact that she's not returning any of his calls. Fingers crossed that's the case. OP, it's not your house, so you don't get to tell her how to live in it. You have a right not to go there if it bothers you. You sound controlling and overbearing. Yeah, always funny when you see one of these already dumped but doesn't know it cases on here. I get the feeling she's insecure about that Etsy shop because his suggestion is that she makes things that someone would want, like a dishcloth, blanket, sweater, etc., to sell instead of dumb little stuffed animals, and he's eroding her sense of value in the absolute awesome stuff she's making. My wife and I, 35 female, are going on a family vacation with her son, parents and siblings to the Greek islands. It's a place my wife and I talked about visiting on our very first date and have saved up lots of money to go. My ex-wife and I are still very close, we have 3 kids together, but sadly all 3 passed away. However, I still consider her my family, and I've known her almost all my life, so there were no hard feelings after our divorce. She's also like an aunt to my stepson and very good friends with my current wife and me. My stepson asked me to bring my ex-wife on our family vacation with us, since she's family. I thought about it for a while and decided why not ask her. She and her boyfriend have recently broken up and she's been pretty beaten down the last few weeks, so I thought a little vacation for her would help her out a lot and get some things off her mind and relax for a bit. I asked my wife and she said happy to have her come along. I asked my ex-wife if she'd like to join us, and she was hesitant at first because she didn't want to intrude, but she eventually agreed and was more than excited to come along. She offered to buy her own plane ticket and hotel room, but my wife and I insisted that we would take care of it for her. She was incredibly grateful and she started packing. My wife's mother had come over to our house and saw I had 1 extra plane ticket on the counter than we were supposed to have, and I told her that my ex-wife was coming. She blew up in my face and told me I was making everyone very uncomfortable by inviting her and that nobody even knew her. She also accused me of planning to cheat on my wife by inviting her on this trip. She called me an idiot for bringing my ex-wife on a family trip. She also said that she's no longer my family since we were divorced and have no kids together. I yelled a whole bunch of crap in her face that I don't even remember. She stormed out of my house, and now everyone is calling to say they don't want to go on the trip anymore, and now my wife is very upset. I was just trying to do something nice for someone who was struggling at the moment. I didn't think inviting one person would cause everyone to pull out. They're going on a free vacation, and the plane is refundable. I'm starting to feel like an idiot now because my wife is very upset that her family isn't going, and we've spent all this money on this trip. And to make things worse, my ex-wife texts me saying she's all packed for tomorrow and how excited and grateful she is that we invited her. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If the wife had no issue, the stepson didn't, why was mother-in-law so angry? Honestly, if I were you, I'd be very cautious of her in the future because I've seen mothers ruin their children's marriages due to their paranoid thoughts. It's none of your mother-in-law's business, really. Everyone's the idiot here. If you're going to invite someone on a vacation you planned with a bunch of people, it's probably best to check with everyone beforehand. That includes your in-laws. Mother-in-law is being unreasonable and insulting still. She should have been consulted beforehand. Maybe the whole thing wouldn't have blown up like that then. Mother-in-law was out of line to throw a hissy fit, but your response was too extreme. You should have let mother-in-law have her childlike temper tantrum and let your wife handle her. Not the idiot. Her "you have no children with her" comment is grounds to go absolute nuclear on her in my book. That was so uncalled for and frankly messed up. Just because they aren't co-parenting anymore doesn't mean they won't always be the mother of each other's children. Once a mom, always a mom.